Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Talking Tech with the Techie Guy, and today we're looking at the Galaxy S6 Edge from Samsung. Quite a cool phone, really enjoying using this phone. Very light, very sturdy. The quality is really cool, but I'm not going to talk about the phone features per se, there's so many of them, but I'd like to just highlight some tips and tricks that I've picked up over the time that I've had it. So let's get cracking. I think the first one we should start with happens to be the home button. Now this button is multi-functioned in this model. So the first thing that it is, it's a fingerprint scanner that allows you to lock and unlock your phone. So here's my phone that it's locked. I run my finger through this and it will unlock the phone. Now you do have to give it a little bit of leeway. Sometimes your finger's held kind of a little bit in the awkward angle as I'm trying to do for the video, so it doesn't actually unlock it the first time. But I found overall it's actually quite sturdy and then just simply does the job quite well. What I would recommend is when you register your finger, register more than one, because depending on which hand you pick up the phone, you don't want to be frustrated that it doesn't unlock it. So you set this up by going into the security settings and you'll find that's the way to do it. Let me just scroll down until I found it. Lock screen and security under fingerprints, and here is where you effectively can set up. So I've set up 3 different fingers, or I'm left-handed, so I'm using mainly my left hand, but obviously you can set up a couple of additional others. As I say, always set up more than one, just so that it doesn't matter which hand you happen to pick up the phone with, you can actually just unlock it. So that's the first tip. So that is your home button, but also your fingerprint scanner to unlock the phone at the same time. But there is more. Your home button, if you double press on it, it instantly launches the camera and allows you to take your pictures straight away from there. So it's a nice, quick, easy way to get to your camera. So regardless of where you happen to be, simply double tap and you're ready for camera action right there. Then the next thing to do is if you hold down the go there button for 2 seconds, it actually opens up the Google Now. So again, a nice quick way to access this information regardless of where you are, just by using the home button. So it's clever that they take one button and given it multiple functions. So we like that. If you go under sound and notification, there's an option there called Do Not Disturb. This is a very underutilized feature. We've seen it around on other devices as well, other Samsung devices. But the Do Not Disturb basically makes your phone, disconnects your phone from everything and allows you to basically have a phone that doesn't beep, doesn't vibrate, doesn't do anything. Very useful if you're trying to get into your ebook or you're trying to focus on a bit of work and you don't want to be disturbed. So you switch that on and you can set it on a schedule. So you can say, every night, I don't want to be disturbed from this time to this time. It still means that you'll get your emails. It still means that an SMS or a message will still come through. It's just not going to vibrate. It's just not going to notify you that it's come through. What is nice is the allow exception. So if you click on that, you can create certain exceptions. So for example, your alarm. You want your alarm to be able to go off, otherwise you're not going to wake up in the morning. You can say certain calls from specific people are allowed. Certain event reminders are allowed, certain app notifications are allowed. So you can really get down and customize this to what suits you. So I want to be able to have nobody phone me between a certain time of night, but certain people such as family, if they have an emergency, they should be able to contact me. So we'll allow those calls to come through. So quite a handy little feature. The Do Not Disturb doesn't just mean your phone is on or off, connected or disconnected, but it allows you to really customize your exception of what you're willing to allow versus what you're willing to not allow. And that's really funky to have. One thing that I found really nice with the S6 Edge is being able to control the vibration intensity. Now, what that actually means is that when you get your notifications, you can actually set it to vibrate differently than when you get an incoming phone call. So if we go into the settings under sound and notification, there's something called vibrations. Tap on that, and there's something called vibration intensity. So I set, if it's a phone call, I want it to vibrate really, really loudly and really strongly, so I know it's a phone call. It's more important than if I get a notification, in which case, well, it just lets me know 2 short beeps, and I know that that notification is in there. So one is to tell me of a new mail, new message, etc. But one is to tell me that of a phone call. Let it vibrate really, really strongly, knowing that I've got to pick this up because it's a phone call and it's going to disappear if I miss that call. So you get to it under sound and notification, vibration, vibration intensity, and you can set up as you like. Very, very nice to be able to do that. The next tip that I'd like to share with you is called Smart Lock. Now I can go down and try find it and try work out where it is in the deep intensive menu, or I can click on search and type Smart Lock and it will come up, and there is Smart Lock. Now what basically Smart Lock allows you to do is that if you're connected to specific devices, and I have to kind of obviously accept that, if you're connected to specific devices such as your Bluetooth in your car or your Bluetooth speaker, or you're in a specific location, it will actually keep the screen unlocked, allowing you to use the screen. So what is very, very cool is that if you come home and you're saying, at home, I trust everyone around me, I don't mind if anyone looks at my phone, therefore no reason to keep the screen locked all the time, having to kind of use your fingers to unlock it, although it's really not a big deal anyway. But specifically to do with devices. So if you're connecting to your Bluetooth, your car, anything of that nature, and you want to have your phone on your cradle and allow you to kind of touch your navigation, you don't want to have to keep unlocking the phone every time. Obviously there's a safety issue here as well. So very, very nice that you can go into something called Smart Lock and say certain devices, whenever they're connected, or certain location, whenever I happen to be in those locations, don't lock my phone. Okay. So you can find those under Secure Lock Settings, something called Smart Lock. Right, so the next little tip is using the application switcher. So if you hold that, if you press that, it obviously will just show you kind of the last apps that you're using, so you can very quickly jump between the various apps, and it will just, as we've got used to doing. But if you hold down the application switcher, it actually allows you to split the screen into 2. So you can have, for example, Chrome at the top and then Twitter at the bottom, for example. Very, very nice to be able to quickly do that. Holding it down opens up the multiple windows, and you can kind of do that. Pressing the button in between allows you to kind of switch between the apps, making that at the bottom and that at the top. Pressing it down again gives you various options: maximize, pin it, or obviously just close it down again. So very cool little tip. Hold that down and launch your multiple windows. If we're on the main kind of interface, main page, what we can do is do the pinch action as we have been able to do in the past. But what it does gives you an option here to say screen grid. And if you click on that, it actually allows you to set the amount of icons that you want to have on your screen. I got it set at 4x4, so 4 icons across, 4 icons down. But you can increase it to 5x5 or 4x5, depending on how big or small you want your applications to be and how many icons you're insisting on having on that screen. So again, nice to be able to have that functionality by being able to do that. Whilst we're still on this menu, it does come with something called Flipboard at the very, very front screen. So if you enable Flipboard, and this it comes by default with a tick box here, what it means is that if you swipe to the right, there's your Flipboard, and that will come up. I don't particularly like that to have that as an option, because every time I'm sliding, I tend to slide one too many, and I seem to get all these news and information, which is nice to have, but let me choose when I want it. So what you can do is that you can pinch the screen, go to where the Flipboard happens to be, and then untick that. You can't get rid of that. You can't get rid of that screen by pushing it away or putting it into the dustbin like you normally could. But if you untick that, what that means is it is no longer there. So that's quite cool that you're able to do that. Again, whilst we're still here, you've got your widget, all your widgets that come installed with your phone, with the various application. Each one has their own widget or a set of widgets. What's always been frustrating is that you've got to keep scroll and scroll and scroll until you find what you're looking for. With this, you actually have a facility called Search Widgets. And click on that, and then here you can look for something called a picture, and all the widgets with pictures will come up, or something called, I don't know, weather, if I can spell weather right. Okay, and here are all the weather applications that will come up. So it's nice to be able to have a quick facility to be able to search through them rather than having to go one by one by one, as we have done with previous versions. It's also got an uninstall version option here, so you can actually get rid of some of the widgets that you don't want to have just by tapping on the minus sign, and it will just uninstall them straight from here. Under your lock screen and security option, click on that. Go all the way down to the bottom where it says other security settings. And then again, all the way to the bottom, you've got something called pin windows. Now, what pin windows does, it allows you to lock a specific application to the screen and you can't get out of that application. So why would you want to do that? Let's give an example where I want to hand my phone over to someone, but I don't want them messing around with my other applications. I don't want them opening Facebook. I don't want them opening my email. I just want them to be in the application I want them to be. So I'm able to pin that to the screen. So for example, I want someone to only be in Twitter and nothing else. I open up Twitter. I press the application button. And if I lift that up, I have got a pin. Touch that pin, and now the pin is actually locks you down as well. So if I click on start, this application is now locked to the screen and they cannot navigate away from that application. You can't press the home button, you can't press the back button, you can't press the recently used application buttons. You can only stick in this particular application. So that is actually quite a very, very cool feature. To get out of that, hold those two together and the application is no longer locked to the screen. So if you want to take a screenshot of this particular screen, you can hold the power button and the home button at the same time, and it will take a screenshot. But what is also nice is that if you go to your notification screen, go down to your notification screen, you not only got a screenshot, and a preview of what you've just captured, but you've also got an option to delete, edit, and share straight from here. Because typically you would take a screenshot and you would do something with it. You would share it via mail, and it gives you that ability to do that. Or again, scrolling down, you got an option to say, all right, I made a mistake, I don't want that. Or you can edit it, and then it goes into some of the functionality, that's the edit function of the photos that it's got here. So that's basically it. A couple of quick features, a couple of quick facilities. I'm discovering more and more the more that I use this phone. This is the Edge, so the additional tips of the Edge is obviously, if you slide it from the side, you've got up to 5 contacts that you can quickly dial, and you can also set those contacts up so that when they do dial you and your phone happens to be upside down on a desk, it will light up with the colors of the people phoning. It's got a couple of options that you can play with under the Edge settings. So if you click on that and then you go down to the Edge screen, it's got Edge lighting, it's got the people on the edge, well, so to speak. It's got information stream, which allows you to give certain information will come through. So the information stream under my managed feeds, I have an ability to say, show me all the trending topics, show me missed calls, show me news that come in. It doesn't have too much flexibility here at this stage, but I think this is still new and developers are going to build more and more apps for it. So once you've enabled it, effectively what that means, if your phone is off, you just do that and you'll have information on the side of your screen. So scroll up and it will give you a whole bunch of additional options. What is also nice is that if your phone is off, you can actually put it into kind of night mode and it will give you the clock. So let's just go into that quickly. So on the edge of the screen, and if you go into night clock. So I've set my clock from 12 o'clock midnight till 6 o'clock in the morning. When that comes up, then the clock will actually appear on the side. It is worth noting that it only can do up to 12 hours. So if you're planning on getting a 14-hour sleep, yeah, this is not going to be the place to do this. It'll only display it for the 12 hours. That's pretty much our tips for today. So remember, make your fingers count, use the home button, make it do multiple things. A great tip is be able to double tap that and instantly access your camera regardless of where you happen to be. And then there's a whole bunch of others as we've had in the video. If you need to, rewind. Don't be afraid, just go press the rewind button. Otherwise, subscribe. There'll be a button somewhere around there. And we'll give you more tips and tricks as we go through the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. Thanks for tuning in.